Welcome to Shorts Beyond Measure, where fashion, interiors, and psychology get the stylish, savvy, and slightly therapeutic touch.
We're Tara West, Caroline Baltz, and Allison Goldberg, a fashion stylist and two interior designers who are also trained as psychotherapists.
So let's get into what's trending, what's tired, and what's actually worth your time. Because good style and good decisions should never be short-lived.
Good morning. We already started with touching my
Slightly therapeutic.
That's a typical day here.
Yeah, pretty much. Boobs and boobs. All right, Caroline.
Therapeutic touch.
We do have our guests here today.
Yes, we have Dawn Davis with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Delighted.
Yes, part two of the episodes, we talked a little bit about your background as a researcher and psychotherapist, psychologist. But we sort of ended last episode talking about Ember Circle and your work as a healer. We want to get to that and maybe a little bit about your book, too.
Yeah, sure. Happy to talk about any and all.
Great. Okay, so tell us, where did the brainchild come for Ember Circle?
So what I noticed in talking with a lot of women over years was that so many of us in midlife are really good at holding others. We hold our families, we hold our jobs, we hold boobs.
We hold boobs.
So we hold so much, but we don't necessarily hold space for ourselves. Or we do, but we do it in extremely prescribed ways that are not filtrating through our entire being and on our entire life. So as I noticed that, and it coinciding with midlife, I realized a lot of us can perceive what the culture says, which is midlife's a crisis, do a lot about it. And I don't think it's a crisis. I think it's an initiation into something even greater. I think it's a threshold or a portal into a life where you begin to really deeply hold who you are close to your heart, beyond the roles, beyond the role of mother, beyond the role of spouse, beyond the role of friend, even beyond the role of a community contributor.
Can I interrupt to ask
Please.
one question really fast?
Yes.
Do you find that women get to that place when, let's just say, their children leave the nest or they hit a certain age? When do they get most impacted by that revelation that I need to take care of me?
So it's a great question. I've noticed that often the empty nest can, and in psychology, as you guys know, there's a concept called anticipatory grief. And when your children leave the nest, there is a grieving process. And not only are you missing your adult child, but you're also beginning to shift your identity of yourself. And it's in that process of anticipating it and then living it that I've noticed that a lot of women can begin to hiccup. And they go, who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore, because they've spent decades literally feeding other people on every possible level a person could be fed. So it's time to begin to really nurture and till your own soil so that the seeds that you plant for yourself and your life for this last, half or whatever it is, third of your life is reflective of the depth of who you are as a human being, not just as a person who does.
I've always been a little ahead of the game, so naturally I hit that point earlier, but I feel like I kind of got there when my kids all went to school full time. And then I was like, I'm not just a mom. I'm not running around cleaning up toys and making snacks. And I needed to find myself again.
Yes.
And that's when Caroline and I met and when we started working again. And I can't even begin to express how much our work has fed my soul and given me a new light and a new identity.
I believe it. Well, you guys are kind of magic together. So it's awesome.
I think it's great that you realized at that point, because I did too. When my kids were very young, I just knew I was what I needed for myself. But I have a lot of friends now who are becoming empty nesters, and wow, it's hitting them hard. And as when I was, and maybe this happened to you, people were very judgy on me working so much. I did miss things. I showed up late, all those things.
Sure.
And now it's very interesting because now it's coming where they're, very well educated, but they don't have something to do. And it's like, oh my God, what I've spent my whole time putting everything into somebody else. What about me?
Yeah, so that grounding, that's exactly it. So what I figured is we didn't need another class, although go to classes. We didn't need another workshop, although go to workshops. We needed a circle, a sacred space. And what Allison, what you and Caroline are talking about is this connection that you can have in a dyad with a deep friendship, which I think is beautiful. And not everyone has that opportunity. So I created these small circles and I offered the first one and it sold out. And then I had someone say, I can't wait. I said I might run another one in like January. And she's like, please no. So I wound up doing a second one back to back and that one sold out. So I feel like there's a need for women to meet in group, to not really have an agenda, but to just talk and to have other compassionate ears, wise ears, as you're saying, well-educated ears.
So what is the Ember Circle? It's a group of women, and do you choose the women, or they kind of sign up, and where do they meet, and what do they do, or is there no agenda?
No, it's great. It's a great question. So I put it out to my group, my list, and I had a feeling that there'd be a couple who would say, raise their hand. And in fact, at least one of them did. I was going to do it all online because I know how much everyone travels, etc. But one of my students said, please, I need to meet in person. So I wound up finding the perfect space. We're meeting in person, and the group gets together to talk about whatever's on their mind. So this last week, we talked about transitions, because that is very much, I mean, not only is it fall, kind of, although it's quite warm, it's transitioning our time in our life and our sense of who we are. And so wanting to have a space where we could feel grounded. I do teach a few tools, but it's really about connection.
And do the women know each other? Like for me, I'm a pretty open person, but I definitely like keep some stuff private. Not from Caroline.
I was
Not
going to say,
necessarily from this audience, but
Now everybody knows.
yeah. Can you imagine I have more skeletons in my closet?
We'd be here for days.
But how do the women just automatically trust each other in the circle?
I love that question.
It's a great question. Well, Caroline is.
I'm in it Tuesday mornings, 9:30.
Oh, I'm gonna join.
Yeah.
So you could speak to what it felt like for you if you feel comfortable. And I'll just give a little frame for me. I know every single one who signed up. I put it out to a list of 500, and the people who wrote back are people I've either worked with or have had some kind of connection, spiritual or like soul connection with. So I know them. And if it was someone, which I didn't get, someone who I didn't think would be a fit, I would say this isn't the right group, but we could try something else.
We
But
would
I
take
didn't
a
have to
soft
do
approach.
But firm. Wait, what did you say last episode? How do you end things with a client? Well, we can.
I don't know, walk out the door.
No, you said something to the effect of, "Well, we can revisit this
Oh,
later."
yeah.
So no feelings. We can pause.
Permission to pause.
Right. I love it.
Permission to pause. Yes. Well, and I can speak to what it was like. We've had one so far.
Yep.
9:30 is on Tuesday, and then you do another one at 11:30.
Yep.
How do people find you to sign up if they want to learn more?
They could go through my website, dawndavis.com, and then just email me from there.
Okay, perfect. So, I think my experience of it was just like a yoga class. When I'm a student in that, you create this just energy to be around that feels so safe and so connected. And you did grounding techniques, and you did pranayama, breathing things, and so the vibe is just a vibe that you set. And I know that you now I know that you know these other women, but it was 5 of us, and we just talked, and it was powerful just to have that space.
Did you know the other women, or just totally random?
I happen to know one of the women.
Well, you know everyone.
It does, but does
Would
that
be
cause?
surprised if she didn't. Even
Does,
be like, wait.
does that cause some people to not want to disclose because of, I mean, if we know each other in our community, sometimes we don't want people to know our business. Does that happen?
I haven't. Well, we have had one session so far, which I think went really well based on what folks are responding. However, we have ground rules. It's kind of like what happens in Ember stays in Ember. And part of why I wanted to call it Ember was because it was kind of like a fire log thing where you can look at it and you see the embers are almost out. And you're like, this can go one of two ways. It's either going to die out and it's just going to be ash, or it's going to rekindle.
That's so beautiful.
So that was where I was going with the Ember
Sold.
Circle.
Sign me up. I'm going to be at Ember on Tuesdays and yoga on Wednesdays.
I'll fill your whole calendar.
But what's the book I'm supposed to read? Tell me about your book.
The book is more, so the book was a compilation of blogs that I wrote. Took about 8 years when I was raising my 3 kiddos. And it really is middle childhood, early adolescence. So it might have, I think your kids are.
No,
you're
I
in
have
it.
Twins are 10. They're almost 11. And
It's
Drew's
perfect.
14. Is it an Audible? Because I need an
Not
audio book.
Yet. But
And you have such a beautiful voice. You should read it.
You.
You can read to me while I go to bed.
I love that. I put people to sleep, I hear.
Dave, that's rude.
Blame it on Dave.
I should have brought you a copy. I will give you a copy tomorrow, and you can bring to Allison. I don't know how old your kiddos are.
My kids are almost out of the house, but I probably still need it.
I'm happy to give 2
No, I'm
copies.
kidding.
It's called Mom As You Are, and you can get it on Amazon. And it started as blogs because I realized that as moms, particularly of young kiddos, we can beat ourselves up and be like, I should have done it differently. I'm messing up my kid, etc. And like, who hasn't had that thought every now and again? And some of us more now than again. And I realized that I was feeling that very deeply, and that wasn't productive for me or my kids, because then I was feeling guilty.
Right.
So I started to write. And by the way, the guilt that we feel when we're parenting actually, I believe, prevents us from learning about how to do it differently. The guilt actually gets in there and short circuits the whole thing. So I just started writing, and I sent it to a friend, or I wrote the blog and I sent it to a friend, and she said, my cousin just called with this exact issue. Do you mind if I forward it to her? No, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then she writes back, she wants more. So I just started using it as a platform to kind of get my head on straight, which really helped. And then I had a student say, who's an editor, say, I would love to edit this into a book. And I said, haha, I thought she was kidding. I didn't realize she was an editor. And she said, I will do this for you. I would love to work on this. And we did. We put it together. And Mom As You Are, because I want moms to accept that where you are, there's a concept in psychology called from Winnicott called good enough parenting. Mm-hmm. Good enough mothering was the initial, but it's good enough. It's good enough, right. And giving your kids a chance to see you fall, make a mistake, say apologize,
Right.
Own it.
Reconcile.
That's huge.
And for all the mom guilt that I have felt from working, because I put everything into my work, and as most people do, I just wanted this to succeed so bad. It was really a mission of mine.
That's beautiful.
And so my daughter actually on my birthday posted something on social media that said that I am her biggest role model in her life. Wow. And
That's
for
powerful.
all of that,
I don't think anyone said that about me ever.
but it's those little things, it's like those little, like that meant so much. Even though I don't think, my kids are in therapy, cool, like everybody should be, I think.
Yes.
But that is just powerful. She has seen a woman build something out of nothing, out of passion.
I love
and
that.
I couldn't be happier that she recognizes just that, like alone.
Yes.
I don't care what she does with her life, but she recognizes that is huge.
Yes. And I think that what you're talking about is so important. And to look at the guilt not as an indication. You said you had a lot of guilt. And as you were saying that, I was thinking of that Tori Amos song from like the 80s.
yeah.
Oh, don't give Tara something to say.
To start my own religion. But
She wants me to speak, Karen.
No, please
and
don't.
a 1 and a 2. So, but we can, use it not as a sign that you're doing something wrong. There's false guilt and there's real guilt. Real guilt is when you actually step on someone's toe. False guilt is all the garbage that our culture tells us that we should be feeling because we're not doing everything perfectly all at once.
Right.
And so to use that and to say, that's not me anymore. Actually, I'm seeing something in my child that is being evoked, which is gorgeous.
And I
That's
think
so important.
your journey is so beautiful because even though you felt guilt, even though you did it anyway, and you pushed through and you took ultimately the pressure off yourself enough to be able to mobilize and then to show up, imperfect, and then to see that response from your daughter of like, wow, you're my role model. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I hope that gives them the power to do whatever they want to. Listen, if I listened to all the naysayers, I wouldn't have built a business because everybody has something to say, right?
You're
But
right.
you have to stay focused on your goals.
Yes, which is what it's all about, isn't it? It's why we do yoga. It's why we, go to these retreats. It's why people do specific meditation practices, because you can get caught up in the noise and miss as Thich Nhat Hanh says, your appointment with life. You miss why you're here, the big real reason, which is what's in your heart.
Well, we're so happy you were here. Thank
Yes.
you.
So delighted.
We love you. Come back again.
Anytime.
Yes,
Love being here. I
please
love your
do.
audience.
Thank you so much for
you.
being here.
Thank you,
guys.
Dawn.
This was awesome.
This was really fun. And we're out. That's it for this week's shortlist. Thanks for listening.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it, leave a review, or let us know what's on your short list.
Shorts beyond measure, because the most important things in life can't be quantified.